Like this.
Go.
IB Film Show, take one.
Hello, thank you everybody, and thank you as always to our viewing audience at home. Welcome to another edition of the IB Film Show. I, as always, am your host, Mr. Shotwell, and I'm here today with Sam and James Production, who have just wrapped and finished on their final production of the year. Immediately to my left is the picture's director and screenwriter, Samuel Gruber. Thank you, Sam. And immediately to his left is the picture's cinematographer and composer, James Giangregorio. Thanks, guys. Pleasure to have you as always. How are you?
Good.
Good.
Great.
All right.
Excited to be here.
Yeah, very excited to have you. And we're very excited to screen the film. Before we get to it, I figured, seeing as I have you, I'd ask you a couple of questions about maybe some insights behind the ideas behind the picture and the actual visual construction of it. And I wanted to start, if possible, with Sam, who, again, you both wrote and direct the film.
Yes.
So from that perspective, Sam, as the writer and director of the film, can you talk a little bit about how you, maybe about what the idea for the film originally was, how you came up with the idea, and how you eventually translated the idea to what we are going to see on the screen in a few minutes?
Sure. So I originally just had this idea of two people in a house in this sort of claustrophobic post-apocalyptic situation. And from then on, I expanded on the idea. And I wanted the post-apocalypse itself to be much more mysterious than how most films depict it, because I found that a common problem in most horror movies was that they tend to over-explain the fear and then it's not scary anymore. And I also wanted it to be a sort of ambiguous situation that many people could relate to, with like the ambiguity in their own lives, and I wanted to have these characters sort of represent humanity as a whole, trying to deal with situations they cannot understand. And from then on, I really wanted the style of the film to be sort of unconventional, using like lots of techniques that were not, that people are not used to seeing in films.
And I think techniques that you hadn't really done a great deal of exploration with either before this.
No, we experimented a lot with this film, and I really like the way it came out, and I think that, it is,
It's new for you in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it is. It was a very new project for me because I wrote the whole thing, and it was much longer than most of the films we normally compose. So in that way, it's sort of like a complete story on its own.
Well, and I love your point about one of the things that makes this film scary, but also just sort of throughout its duration disturbing, is the ambiguity of the whole circumstance. So it's fascinating to hear that that is sort of one of the original idea points for this film.
Yeah, I knew I wanted to reduce the situation to a sort of bare bones, no explanation, just the emotions of the characters.
And it really does, I think, carry a lot of the tone of the film. Which in some ways I think connects to what I wanted to talk to you about, James, because your prominent visual role in the film was the cinematography, but you also were involved in composing the music behind the film. So from a cinematographer's perspective, the lighting is quite noteworthy and very dramatic, and at times very expressionist, especially when we start to get to that like almost holographic at times red light that shows up at the end of the film. What preparation did you do to ensure that the lighting we ended up seeing on screen matched what your intentions were? And were there any specific inspirations behind your specific design of the lighting and your thoughts about the lighting?
Yeah. So as soon as Sam came up with the idea, I immediately was like, okay, they're in this house. There's got to be something to create some fear of this outside world. So I was like, okay, it would be really cool if we had like lighting coming in through like the windows or whatever. Right. And immediately my mind went to there's an album cover called Punisher by Phoebe Bridgers.
I remember you showing me this.
Yeah. It has this like really super dramatic like red lighting,
Right.
and I was like, okay, that's kind of what I want to do here. And I also really liked like various other films, like whatever, like Coraline or whatever, very distinct, vibrant colors, and I wanted to do that in ours because
Yeah.
I love like the vibrant colors.
I've heard you talk about your affinity for Coraline before this project too.
Yeah.
That's interesting that it shows up again here as
Yeah.
sort of a recurring influence for you.
And yeah, so immediately as I had that idea, I was like, okay, what are different ways we could do this? And I thought about the theater productions that they put on here, and they have the lighting, and obviously they have the color gels that they put in front of the lights. So I was like, okay, let me see if I could borrow that from them. So I went and borrowed a few different color gels from there and tested it out on the lighting kit that the film class has.
And so it's those gels that end up producing the really prominent red that
Exactly,
we get in the lighting of the
yes.
film. Oh, that's so interesting. Very cool. Great. But I want to dive into it immediately after these insights, but just briefly before we get into it, this will be the last film that you guys produce in your, at this point, quite large catalog of productions that you've made as IB Film students. So I wanted to give you guys a chance to both reflect briefly on what type of filmmaker you would describe yourself as and how you think that is reflected in the film we're about to see. And we can start with Sam and go down the line.
Well, I think a lot of this film was me sort of reflecting on my entire experience in IB film, and I think there's a feeling of an impending like ending to the whole thing, which is sort of, I took inspiration from a lot of existentialist authors with the themes of the film, and I think that sort of reflects like the experience of leaving IB film itself, that the film was like, the ending itself is almost sort of like a goodbye and like welcoming in the unknown of what will come later.
Oh, that's so interesting. So sort of inspired by your current circumstances.
Yeah, exactly.
An abstract sort of way.
Yeah, I'd say I'm a very idea-driven filmmaker because I generally get the idea in my head and I sort of just have to put it onto the screen exactly as I see it in my mind, and it could change very well from like my own idea, but it has to start out that way.
Cool, fascinating. And I think I agree, having seen some of your other productions in the past as well. James?
Similar to what Sam said, I think that this was like sort of like culmination of like what I really like to do with the films, and I'm taking like what I've learned over my time in this class to sort of make what I think is what my style is more so like very visuals driven, and like almost like a music video kind of thing. I love music videos and stuff like that, and very dramatic lighting and stylized reality, I guess, in a way.
Interesting.
And yeah, similar to also what Sam said, if I have like an idea in my head, and we tend to have like very overlapping ideas when we the same vision when we come up with an idea, and like I like to work until I get the idea that's in my head kind of thing. And yeah.
Stylized reality, I think, is a wonderful term to leave the audience on as we begin to watch the film and to think about and ruminate on as they check it out. So maybe we should head into it on that. So without further ado, Sam and James' production. The name of the film?
Outsider.
Outsider. All right, we hope you enjoy.
Was there enough water from the rain last night?
Looks to be about enough.
Listen, last night, I heard something that I wanted to tell you about. It was while you were asleep. I don't know how you're able to sleep. I heard a voice coming from the window. It was just a whisper. At first, I didn't realize, but it was Dad's voice. He told me to open the window, to let him in. He said he missed us, that it was okay now, that we could go outside and there was nothing to be afraid of.
You know that wasn't him, right? Dad always told us to be afraid of the outside world, and he's gone now. So, whatever it is that you saw, that was something else.
I know. A part of me wanted to open it, even though I knew better. But I didn't.
Good. You know, you can't trust anything out there. Nighttime.
Do you ever wonder what that noise before night is?
There's no point in wondering. Sometimes it's better not to know. Dad always said to be grateful for your ignorance, because the more you've seen of the outside, the more it has won.
And what if we're wrong? We would have no way of knowing.
Don't think like that.
Help! Please help me. I got lost and I can't find my way home. Please let me come in. Just for the night. I don't know what could be out here. Please let me in. It's getting warm. Feels like something is alive in the air. Can you feel it too?
What if it's someone out there that really needs our help?
We can't trust anything out there, you know that. We've never opened the door at night once before, and that has to be for a reason. You told me that you saw Dad last night, but you knew it wasn't really him. Do you really think that this is any different?
Hey, I forgot my flashlight in the other room. I'm gonna go get it. What? No, what? I just... What? No, what? I was just... This can't be happening. What? Oh my god, something's really wrong. Did you see it? Are you okay?
What are you talking about? Nothing's wrong. Where did you go?
I can't explain what happened. We have to stay together. The house isn't safe anymore.
You remember that dream you had last night? You finally opened the door to the outside, and you were able to see them all again. All of this was finally over. You liked it, right? Deep down, you always wanted to do it.
What are you talking about? I never told you about that dream. How do you...
What's wrong? You can trust me.
No. No, you're not.
Be afraid of me or outside. Your brother wasn't afraid either. He finally opened the door. You're the only one left.
All right. Thank you, everybody, and thanks again to our viewing audience at home. This has been another edition of the IB Film Show. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time, everybody.